Mr. Boderman, if you're looking at this particular debate, please read the Quran.
Yes, please. And give us your historical analysis of the
you had
Quran.
a chance of the Bible.
I would love your opinion of the Quran.
And you have actually left Christianity after reading the Bible. I don't blame you. Carry on.
Yes. Okay.
All right. You want to go to the doctrine?
My question, yes.
Okay, good.
What doctrines are in question? What Christian doctrines are in question based on the textual variants of the New Testament?
Based on the Bible itself. Yes, not alone.
Based on the textual variants.
Whether it's variants or not.
No.
Todd,
I'm asking the question.
Yes.
Okay. My question is, what Christian doctrines are in question based on the textual variants of the New Testament?
Okay, one of the main variants is, like I told you, the entire books of the Shepherd of Hermes.
That's not a variant.
Why not?
That's not a variant.
How can you say it's not a variance? One book says, wait a minute. By the way, how many books are in your Bible?
66.
How many are in the Catholic Bible?
I don't know.
73. How can you not know that?
Because I'm not Catholic.
I'm not a Catholic, I know that.
All right, fine. They have the...
Seriously?
But what difference does this make?
It does.
I know.
Because Catholicism is a mainstream Christianity.
He's trying to fool you into thinking he's winning arguments by making
Todd,
gotcha jokes.
Todd,
now just answer my question.
Todd,
Let's get back to my question.
Catholicism has got more Christians than Protestants. You know that?
No.
Don't you think they are the major religion in, sorry, they are the major group in Christianity compared to the Protestants?
Okay.
You guys are the minority in the Christians.
We're talking about textual variants, okay?
I'm talking about textual variants as well. To me, an extra book is a variance. Maybe not to you.
No, it's not.
Okay, explain to me why
that's not what a historian says. Because you don't, like, that's like saying, oh, I'm picking up the Quran and I'm picking up the book of 1 Corinthians and I'm seeing lots of variants here.
Oh, I see. So you do not consider that as the Bible? Well, the 4th century Christians definitely did.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the Codex Sinaiticus.
Let me tell you what a variant is. A variant is when there's two copies of the same document and they vary in words or sentences or whatever.
Or books.
Now he's
changing. Forgot books. You forgot books. That's very important.
That's not a variant.
Okay, show me the definition of variance.
A textual variant.
Show me. Because the onus is on you to provide me the evidence for that.
All right, this is
you just made up your own.
You clearly haven't read Bart Ehrman.
You made up your own.
You clearly haven't read Bart Ehrman.
Well, I just read it to you.
Bart Ehrman does not define a textual variant as a missing book.
Show me the evidence for that. Show me the evidence. What is the definition of textual variant?
Let me define it. Okay, I'm defining the question.
Based on what?
I'm defining.
What is your source for your
historians?
Like, name me one.
Okay, let me look it up.
Yeah, please do.
Can I join in? I'm a historical linguist, and we look at textual variants.
Okay. Would you consider a different book? For example...
No, it's a different text.
No, hold on.
You have to look at the same
Hear me out.
Thank you, sir.
Imagine you have a book called the Bible.
I understand what you're saying, but when you're talking about textual
what am I
variants,
saying?
You're saying that the lack of a text is a different variant.
No.
What he's arguing.
What is the Bible according to you?
But in order to argue, you've got to come to the agreement of what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And you're talking about two different things.
And that's the reason we want to define it. For me, a book like the Bible, yes, one person calls this book as the Bible, and they say 73 books in it. I'm talking about the Catholics, yes?
Yeah, and they have the Book of Maccabees too. Okay.
Hear me out, yeah? The Catholics consider the Bible as a book from God. And according to them, every single book in there is an inspiration from God. All 73 books of them. The Protestants, which come much later after the Catholics, they say no, there are 6 books in that which are not inspired by God. These are apocrypha, they will be discarded from our canon. But they still call that the Bible, which is an inspiration from God. So here I'm comparing like for like. They are both Bibles. However, there are two different sects of Christianity. Okay. Both of them claim to have inspiration from God.
Okay, but where are you going with this point, though?
No. The point is this. Both of them claim they have inspiration and revelation from God in the form of the Holy Spirit. To one, the Holy Spirit is saying it's 73 books. To another, like Todd here, who is a Protestant, he claims that it's only 66 books. Okay. But they both claim this is the Bible from God. Okay. Now I'm asking him, with regards to those people who firmly believe that every book in this Bible of theirs, the Catholic Bible, is an inspiration from God, is a revelation from God. It is the Bible. As far as I, as a non-Christian, am concerned, to me, this is the Bible according to them. And
we're not even debating this because I never said.
But I'm trying to see what the point you're debating.
The point is this. Because
okay, my question for him is, you and I you're a professional historian. I agree with your definition of textual
He hasn't given his
variance.
definition yet.
He did. He just did.
Can you
weren't
define it
listening.
again if you don't mind?
You weren't listening as usual.
Yeah, I wasn't. Please define it again.
So when you have a text,
Yeah.
certain things will be contained in this version that aren't contained in that.
Yeah.
And so there's a variance.
So you mentioned a keyword version,
What's that?
a different version
different version
of the
yes.
same text.
Of the same text.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. They both
Okay,
are Bibles.
But what?
No.
I'm just trying to see what your point's going.
the point
I
is-
don't see it going anywhere.
Okay, the point is
I was
this.
hoping to help.
My
to
question-
help
Yeah.
define.
The point we were
question-
discussing earlier was with regards to the manuscript evidence. The Christians do not have any manuscript evidence of the teachings of Jesus from the first century.
No, wait. That's not
since-
the point.
No,
The question,
he asked me what we were discussing.
No,
I'm
that's
I'm
not
telling
what we're
you.
discussing.
Well, that is.
Well, let me hear what he said.
Yeah.
and I'll
Okay.
hear what you
Please
say.
stop interjecting all the time.
I'm correcting.
Okay. Well, it's not the right time to do. What I'm saying is that this was the first topic of our discussion with regards to the historic evidence of the extant manuscript in Christianity versus Islam. In Islam, we have the first century Al-Hijrah from the time of Muhammad. 100 years after, we have got manuscripts. We have got the Birmingham manuscript, which I showed him, which he didn't know about. Then there is a Topkapi manuscript. There is a Sana'a manuscript. All these have actually been proven to be from the first century Al-Hijrah, from within 100 years of the Prophet Muhammad's time. And this gives us the evidence that there were witnesses, eyewitnesses, who could have written this. Yes? But you see, if you do not have any manuscript at all, then it would be impossible to make this claim that there are eyewitness accounts for the Bible that we have in existence today. Would you agree with that?
I think you both are missing the point. Religion is never going to be proven scientifically.
No, from a historic perspective, I'm asking.
Okay, then I'm not going to argue from story.
Can I give you what I what
Okay,
what we were?
but what you're saying is that there is
Extant
a
manuscript
more
evidence.
direct textual history to the Quran than there is to the Bible.
There's an extant
Okay.
manuscript evidence for the Quran from the early century,
Okay, I can
first
see
century, and not for the Bible. By the way, I was just talking about the New Testament. The Old Testament is even worse. There's a gap of 1,000 years from the time of Moses preaching until the Dead Sea Scrolls, the earliest
Yeah.
extant manuscript of the Old
Because
Testament.
things were passed on
Yeah,
orally.
exactly. So and they do not have this oral tradition.
Okay.
Both Judaism and Christianity today, they do not have this oral tradition where they memorize from cover to cover. The Muslims have this. So we got two mode of preservation: the oral and the textual.
And so the point.
The point is-
So I see the different the different degrees of text going back farther in one religion than the
Yes.
other. Your point being what? Now that you established that, what's your
my
point?
point is that if I claim something is from the Quran, I can always go back to the early manuscripts to verify it. How would the Christians verify the same if they wanted to verify something in that Bible today? Is what is the real? For example, there's a certain Bible called the red letter Bibles. These Bibles claim that these red letter texts or phrases in the Bible is verbatim what Jesus said, but that is actually not true, because they are claiming this is what Jesus might have said, but nowhere can you prove that is exactly what Jesus said, because they do not have any early manuscripts.
Listen to his point now.
Yes,
Okay,
please do.
so the
Wow, I
point
wasn't
that
involved in this.
the point that we were talking about, that I mean, we've gone through many subjects, but the question I asked was very clear. I know that there are thousands of extant New Testament manuscripts, okay? And there are thousands of variants between those New Testament manuscripts. What the question I asked him was,
I can name one.
the question I asked him was, what Christian doctrines are in question based on these variants?
Do the variants really change doctrine at all?
Right. And my as far as I know, no, they don't. They don't change it at all.
That'd be an interesting point. I'm sure someone studied that before.
Yeah.
No,
Not my knowledge.
but that is a moot point. I'll tell you why. This is the same reason Bart Ehrman said is a moot point, regardless of how many copies of the late manuscripts you have. The point remains. The point remains. If you do not have the early originals, how will you verify any of the doctrines that you claim are from Jesus?
Well, the problem is I don't think you can prove religion through history. You prove religion is a belief.
No, we are not talking about proving religion. We are trying to prove the
Well,
text.
but I think that's the
the
core
text.
of this.
You
No,
can,
no,
you can reason in it.
Yeah, the core is to see if the text can be verified. Okay, so we are not looking at it from a theological point of view. We are looking from it from a historical perspective.
Okay, so
How will you verify if you do not? For example, I'll give you an analogy. If, for example, you lost your birth certificate and there was no way for you to get the original copy of the birth certificate, you only have a copy from, say, 30 years after you were born, and you go to the passport office and you present that birth certificate, expecting them to accept it. Do you think they'll accept it without the original?
Okay, but that's a
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
That's an analogy.
Yeah, but
I know
what
it's
you're
not.
trying to- yeah,
I know it's not a
analogy.
very well-grounded analogy, but the point still remains. Without the originals or without something from nearer to Jesus, I'm giving him a leeway of 100 years. I think that's reasonable, because we did the same thing with the Quran. The Quran also I gave 100 years. How many manuscripts do we have? Loads. How many do the Christians have? 0.
Well,
Even Islam don't have originals, my friend.
I told you we are from the early manuscript. We have.
Even 100 is not enough. During Muhammad, there was no written.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
There was no written.
You know, we have got
I've heard the
hadith.
same
Wait.
thing.
Yeah.
We actually have scraps of the
it's all
Muhammad
a moot
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam
point.
whose name we
all
know.
a moot
Zayd
point.
bin
It's what you
Thabit
believe
was
in.
specially told by the Prophet
Which
to write
ayah
it
was
down.
written during Muhammad?
The whole Quran.
There was no
if
The whole
you're-
Quran.
if
It was
you're a
oral.
Just because you
historian,
said you have you
but
studied it.
talking about religion.
Really?
but
Do you know Zayd
Religion
bin
is a
Thabit?
matter of faith.
You didn't even know
I
that, did you?
agree to an extent.
Exactly. So if you
but
don't
I
know
do
the
think it's
basics,
important
how will you know the history?
to
have
be
a
able to
historical-
establish what did the apostles
True.
set forth.
But it doesn't prove, even if you had the exact,
Right,
this
right.
is what Paul wrote, we have this manuscript. You could say, Paul was a crazy man. He had these weird visions and wrote them down. It doesn't prove that it was true. what
No,
he
no,
said.
you're going into now theology. We are looking from the historic perspective.
Okay, I guess that's my
That's what
where
I'm
I
saying.
differ.
Because obviously, if you're not a believer in God, then you will not. We don't expect you to come from that point of view.
Well, I am a believer in God, but I don't think you need to have the original documents to base your faith on.
No, when I say
I think you can have no documents and still have faith.
no, when you say original documents, and what I mean by original documents is something from the something close to the source.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
because you don't
And
have
if
the
you
original
and if
documents.
I told you from within 100 years we got lost, I gave you the name.
Now, if you did have the original documents, then that would now be a criterion that Christianity must meet. If you did have the
No, no,
original
you're
Quran,
missing the
But why?
point. When you-
you're basically sliding your scale to what
I've just told you the
Quran
originals. What I
means.
mean by that is from something from the early.
We don't have original. They don't
He's
have
moving
How do you know
the
we don't have
standards.
originals? How do you know that? Just because he says it, he hasn't even heard of the Birmingham
He didn't
manuscript.
say we had originals.
I did
Do
told
we
you.
have originals?
You know how many times have I repeated?
You're redefining
Todd,
originals.
Todd, how many times have I
We have the
repeated?
autograph.
How many times? No, I didn't say autograph. When did I say that?
Do we have the
No,
autograph?
when did I say autograph? I said
The
by
originals.
I said by the
You redefined
originals. I
originals to mean within 100 years.
from within the 100 years.
Okay.
And I use
I
the
mean
same standard
originals
for the
meaning
Bible.
original.
But why is it so important to have originals? Why?
No, when I say the original, I
Let's
mean
talk about original.
you know when you
original-
have something close to the source,
Does not.
close to the time of the source, that is given more credibility than something much later on.
But what if you have
Do you agree
some-
with that?
But what do you have something?
Wait, do you agree with that principle I just mentioned? If you have something,
Except that if you have something close to the source that a crazy man said, how does that give it
no,
credibility?
we are not looking. Hold on, you're missing the point. We are not looking at the text yet. We are looking just to find how close to the source it is. And the next step would be to see the text.
I just still see that as important in my point of view.
The next step would be to see what the text says.
Yeah.
And that is where he kept asking about the doctrine.
Yeah.
All right? Because you
I
see,
just don't see that
the
as
doctrine,
important
one of the
as far as
major
religion is
doctrines.
concerned,
Yeah.
it's not important.
By the way, you said you believe in God.
Yes.
So what is your source for believing in God?
The feelings that he sends to my heart, the presence that he gives me, the guidance that he's given me in my life.
And how do you know that is God?
There's no way I can scientifically prove to you that is God.
I didn't ask you for scientific proof.
Well, you're absolutely
I just
correct.
asked you, based on your feelings, what do you have? How do you know that is the God inspired you to have those feelings?
There's no earthly way that those sorts of feelings come to man.
How do you know that?
I can't prove it to you.
No, I didn't ask you to prove from a scientific perspective. I want you to tell me, look, we have got good and evil in this world. Yes? And I'm not saying you're an evil person, neither do I know you enough to know that you're fully good. Yes? So based on that inspiration you had, how can you confirm that is only from God and not from the evil one?
Because when I feel that spirit, it inspires me to do good, to love my fellow man, to do good to other people, to think good thoughts.
Yeah.
That is what God is all about.
Do you need to be a religious person to know that? Do you think an atheist can manage that?
I think God can inspire many people.
Exactly. So you see,
But
you don't
God
need to
will-
even believe
but
in
God
God.
will always inspire people to do good, to believe in Him.
No, I agree with you, but
Hashim.
I'm saying you don't even need to be religious to do that. What you just said could easily be have said
You don't,
by an
need, you
atheist.
don't need to belong to a particular religion.
No, you
have
don't need to
God.
belong to any religion to know that. What you just said. To be good.
No, God
To
can
be
touch
good.
anyone.
Yeah, to be good, you could be an atheist. An atheist like Bill Gates does a lot of good things. He gives more than half of his charity.
Yes.
He's a better, more charitable person than me. Yes, because this is what I'm saying. What you just said is very subjective, and it can apply to both religious people and non-religious people. So tell me
Hashim.
something that you know is only applicable to religious people, and that you know is directly from God.
I wasn't saying that what I was saying only applies to religious people.
No, but
You're twisting
Can I
it
ask
that
a
way.
No, I'm not.
Hashim.
I'm asking. I'm not twisting it. I'm
Hashim,
asking. Yeah, go on.
doesn't the Quran say something about reading it and feeling a burning in your bosom or something
No,
like
it
that? It doesn't?
No.
Okay.
If it is,
'Cause
please quote the verse to me.
Okay, I don't.
There's no burning in your bosom or
I'm
anything.
asking because that's what some
Well, I just told you no.
Muslim told me. Okay, so some Muslim needs to be corrected.
No, you know, you got to
There's no
stop. You got to
burning in
stop
your
going
bosom.
on hearsay.
There's
I've
no
been telling
burning
you
in
this for
bosom.
years.
I'd be happy to.
Why didn't you
I'd be
read the
happy to.
sources directly?
I'm just trying-
They're available freely.
I bought a study Quran. For
Why
about
did you buy the study Quran?
Because it has the commentary in there.
Yeah, but you could have bought any other Quran which has a commentary. Why the
No,
study Quran?
because you know why? Every time I quote the Quran to a Muslim,
Yeah.
they said the next question is, do you read Arabic? No.
Is it-
Oh well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you can't possibly have anything to say about
Did I make that
it.
statement?
So I can't remember.
Exactly. So
Maybe.
so don't
You
say every
probably have-
Muslim.
But no,
Don't say every
most
Muslim.
Muslims that I talk
Don't
to,
say most Muslims even.
Muslims that I've talked to say when I read the Quran, the source, they say, well, you don't understand Arabic, so you have nothing to say.
Actually-
So that's why I bought the study Quran, which is written by Muslim
You
scholars.
still read it in English. Wow.
I read it in English because that's what I That's what
Exactly.
I
So
read.
there's no point you
and
mentioning that
then
even.
and then it explains it in the footnotes.
Fine. You know, by the way,
in
there are many
English.
commentary Qurans, not just the study Quran. In fact, I wouldn't recommend any
wouldn't
person.
recommend the study Quran?
I wouldn't recommend the study Quran.
I've never seen another commentary Quran.
Well, there are lots. There's Ibn Kathir.
Send me
One
an
of the
email. I'll buy
earliest-
another one.
One of the earliest commentaries you'll
I'll
find.
buy the one you endorse.
Ibn Kathir is a good one.
Okay, email it to
It's
me.
an expensive one, not as cheap as the study
This
Quran.
one's $70. That's not cheap.
All right. But anyway, I think Ibn Kathir is a few volumes, not just one.
That's fine.
Yeah, but it's quite thorough.
I'm
Anyway,
anxious to read it.
That's fine. So, with regards to the doctrine that you kept asking me,
Yes.
would you consider every Christian out there to believe in the same doctrines?
No, I'm asking about the Christian doctrines that are in question based on the textual variants.
Crucifixion.
Are there
What textual variants are there?
that are in question based on this?
More explanations of crucifixion. Like with John.
So Mark, what does Mark say about the crucifixion? Does he say Jesus died? Okay, but there may be differences.
The doctrine, you know,
The doctrine
if we did not have a doctrinal difference, we wouldn't have Protestants and Catholics, would we? Because there are doctrinal difference, that's the reason we have this different major
Has anyone
sects.
heard of
But I don't-
Shiites?
Of course we have.
So don't you have doctrinal differences with Shiites?
Well, maybe you should find out what the Shia and the Sunni difference is, because I know the Catholic and the
But
Protestant.
do they?
Of course they do.
Okay, so that
Because,
doesn't
sorry,
mean
with regards to
anything.
there's differences.
Why are the Shiites believe what they believe?
The Shiite,
Are they wrong?
I'll tell you what, the Shiite and the Sunni differences mainly is a political difference. It is basically who was going to become the heir of the Prophet Muhammad. So it's very much political, and to be honest, the initial difference was hardly theological, it was mainly political. The Shia said he was basically the cousin of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, hence he should have the right to be the heir. However, the Muslims in general, they thought the best person to lead after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is going to be the person who the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during his lifetime has basically made him the substitute when he couldn't lead the prayers. Whom did he basically substituted in his place? Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. And that is what the general Muslims said. In fact, Ali radiallahu anh, the fourth caliph whom they wanted to be the caliph after the Prophet
Are
Muhammad
there any
ﷺ,
differences?
You asked me a question, let me finish.
No. I didn't ask you that question.
Well, you did.
I
You asked,
you
are there any
what
differences? I'm telling you
differences
No, you
in
said
practice.
doctrinal differences.
Doctrinal.
the doctrine differences.
Well, no. I'm not. I understand the political differences.
I think the
what I'm
fundamental-
saying is are there any practices that the Shiites do that you don't, or vice versa?
Which are not in the Quran. There are doctrinal differences.
There
but
are
which are not in the
doctrinal
Quran. For
Okay.
example, I'll give you an example. The 12 Imams that they believe in. Yes, there's no reference of that in the Quran. This is one of the major doctrinal difference between the Shias and the Sunnis. However, with the Catholics and the Protestants, the doctrinal difference are in the Bible.
What about the Ismaili
Answer my
Muslims?
question.
What
Why
about
you
the
keep evading
Ismaili
my
Muslims?
questions? I have to answer every question of yours.
No,
you keep evading
I'm
mine.
not evading
okay,
your question.
what is the doctrinal difference between the Catholics and the Protestants?
Okay, remember,
Are you
the
going to answer?
question, the question is,
It's what?
the question is about textual variances.
Yes.
What
No, you asked
doctrinal
doctrinal differences.
What doctrinal? No, I said what doctrinal differences result from textual variances.
Yes.
I didn't say what doctrinal differences are.
So there are doctrinal
I said,
differences.
of course.
Okay, what is it?
What doctrinal?
What is
no,
it?
no, no! Don't
keep
trick
going
me
on your
into
own.
going in.
You
down
see what
your
I mean?
path.
This is where he evades questions.
What I'm saying is, you're changing the question. The question is very clear. What there are textual variances. What doctrinal differences arise from those textual variances?
The Trinity in John, I think, is not explained in Mark. That's a doctrine difference.
Actually, the resurrection is a very good point.
The resurrection
Does
also.
Mark have any mention of the resurrection?
But that's not a textual variant.
Sorry?
That's a different.
Well, it is because look.
But you're still not.
What do you mean by? What do you mean?
But I haven't heard the question asked yet.
Hold on. When you say textual difference in doctrine,
Here's the Book of Mark at this point of period. Here's another copy of the Book of Mark. Here's another copy. How do they vary?
you did not hear the full question, did you? You only heard about the.
Yes, you did.
No.
Is that what you're asking?
That is what I'm
No.
asking.
With all due respect, you only heard about the variance. You didn't hear the
But
bit
that's
about the
what he's
doctrinal
asking.
difference because of the variance.
Yes. What are the doctrines?
Exactly my point.
He heard the point.
Yes. So
He
show me
restated
the.
it.
So show me the variance. Sorry. Show
No.
me. Show me in Mark. The resurrection, which is one of the most important doctrines in Christianity, preached in Mark. Please do.
Again, you're ignoring the historian's definition of a textual variant.
I have given you.
You're talking about a different. You're comparing two different texts.
Right.
No, wait.
A textual variance is a variance found in different copies
By the way,
of the same
are you
text.
aware that Mark actually
Different
Matthew,
copies of the
hold on.
same
Are you
document.
aware that Matthew actually copied from Mark?
Oh, they all copied from each other.
Yes,
Different
exactly. So
copies
if they
of the
copied from
same
each other,
But I don't. But that's a different point.
no, it's not a different point. Listen, if I copied from you, and I was expected to copy exactly from you,
No,
and I left out the most important bit. Yes. For example, there's actually in Matthew there is about there's a lot of mention about both the crucifixion and the resurrection. But Mark, the earlier manuscript to Matthew even, from whom Matthew has copied, never mentioned anything about the
I know, but
resurrection.
you're still not answering his question.
Okay, anyway, that's how I see it as a variance. If you see it
Okay,
differently, that's up to you.
You're
Okay,
redefining it.
Let me give you.
Here's
Let me give you a textual variant. I don't remember which book it's in. It talks about a man who was sick, and there was a fountain, and when it bubbled, people would go into the fountain, and they thought it would heal him. And so the man said, "There's no one who can carry me down." Some versions of that same book of the Bible have that story, others don't. That's a textual variant, same book.
Okay, with regards to the stories, there's a very good example, Matthew. Matthew talks about the saints who basically rise from the graves, and they go all around the city, and everyone could see them. Do you know what? Matthew is the only one who mentioned this.
That's
Mark
not a
left it
variant.
out.
But
That's not
you
a
said-
variant.
That's not a textual variant.
Hold
Not
on,
a
you
textual
said
variant.
which is left out from one.
Please educate yourself.
How can-
on what a textual
You-
variant
wait,
is.
how can you
Until
say-
until you
Start
understand what
lecturing.
a textual variant is, you can't answer
Hold
the
on.
question.
How can you say something so major? Yes, like for example, the saints who
But
wait.
that's a different question.
Hear me
That's
out.
a different question.
How can you say that someone like the saints getting up, some miracle like that, which everyone sees, and guess what? The only person to write about it is Matthew.
Congratulations, it's a different question. Now let me
That's
give
true.
you. I'll give you
That's
another.
true.
So what
and,
is-
I'll
and
give
what
you-
does that have to do with
The
textual
point
variant?
is this: if something that
Sir.
Matthew writes and something that the other gospel do not write, and this is something major, yes, it's like me
But it's
saying
not a textual variant.
it's like the three of us being here in the park.
No, it's not.
It's like the three of us. It's like the three of us being in
Historians
park.
disagree with you.
Todd,
I mean,
you can
what
make
you're
up your own
what you
terms
were
if you
saying
want,
is true.
but you'll win every
What you were
argument
saying
every
is
time you
true.
make up your own
But
terms.
what you're talking about is not answering
That's
this
not
question.
what I'm doing.
because he is looking at it from the perspective of a
Of a
Christian,
historian.
not a historian.
historian.
He's looking at it from the perspective
Okay,
because
I'm a historical linguist.
Yeah.
We look at this has nothing to do with religion. It has to do
You think he
with old
wants to see
texts
me
and
win
trying
the
to
argument so
understand
Exactly.
how the but old variants of the same.
As a historian, you should realize that if you do not have any evidence, there's nothing to
So
fall back
maybe
on.
that's why
Yes,
y'all are agreeing
but you don't even agree with that.
erroneous
No,
definition.
you're just not answering his question.
Okay,
You're
let
not
me-
understanding.
Let me
his
give you
question.
another example of a textual variant. In some manuscripts, I forget which gospel it is, but in some manuscripts it said the lepers came to Jesus, and Jesus felt anger. The Greek word for anger.
He was pleased to hear.
And then in other manuscripts it says Jesus felt compassion.
But
Okay?
within the same book. Of
Same
the
book,
gospel,
same
yes.
passage.
All right.
Hey, I'm not finished.
Oh, same book, same passage.
Same book,
Is
same
that what you
passage.
mean?
That's what a
Yes,
contextual.
that's
Oh,
what a
I see.
textual variance
Now
is.
you understand
Okay,
that.
now I understand it.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay,
The
thank
best
you.
example is 1 John 5:7.
Is that the
The
Father,
same-
Son, the Holy
yes.
Ghost?
Is
Right.
it found in the later manuscripts?
No.
There you go. I rest my
And
case.
guess what?
I rest my case.
Christians do not base the Trinity on that verse.
No, wait a minute. Did they do it earlier?
No, we reject that.
So why did they put it in the Bible?
We reject that change.
No, but why did they put it in? Oh, it's a change. You agree?
Yes, somebody changed it.
And who's that
somebody
somebody?
altered it. One of the scribes that thought they were doing God a favor.
Right. So how long did they believe that was a verse from God?
I don't know.
You know when they found this out?
No.
1970.
No, that's not right.
Well, the New International Version. They were
I
the
don't
first-
think so.
They were the
I don't
first
think
ones
so.
to mention this, and they
When
wrote
did
it in the
find-
footnote.
What's the New International Version based on?
I think they're the 100 scholars, and they based it on the earliest manuscripts that they could get hold
Which
of.
is the Codex Sinaiticus. Did
Is
they
it?
find the
No,
Codex?
I think it's the one
Yes.
earlier than that.
Okay, so
it the Textus
when did they find
Receptus?
the Codex Sinaiticus?
Is it the Textus Receptus?
The Textus Receptus is from the 17th century.
Yeah, and that's what the
The
KJV
Codex
is based on?
Yes.
Yes, and it's been rejected?
The Codex Sinaiticus
Yes.
was found, in the 1800s, I believe.
1800s?
Yes.
Okay, for 1800 years they believed it to be the word of God.
Okay, but
Thank you for helping me out.
Okay, so again.
So that is the textual
my que-
variance?
I'm the one
Yes,
that's
that
giving
was-
you the
that was-
textual variance.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not standing on
But I'm telling
changes
you, but
to
I'm
the,
telling you
to
that this
the
is what the
Bible.
people believed to be the word of
Okay.
God for 1800 years.
And I'm asking
Do
you.
you agree?
I'm asking you.
Todd, do you
no,
agree?
No, I don't.
Why you don't?
I'm asking
Oh,
you.
come on.
You're distorting the question. I'm
Really?
asking you what Christian doctrine is based on textual or affected or based on textual variance.
Wait a minute.
The Trinity.
Why do you say the Trinity is not based on
Okay,
that?
the Trinity is not based on that.
Why do you say that?
Because you can there's evidence of the Trinity by inferring from other passages.
Give me one passage which is as clear as that.
Like when Jesus commands the weather, the waves
no,
to
I didn't
stop.
ask about divinity of Jesus. We're talking about the Trinity.
Don't you think that has to do with the divinity of Jesus?
No, the Trinity.
doesn't.
The Trinity is not just the divinity of Jesus. You need to know your creed.
I didn't say that.
So
it
when you
was
say
only.
Trinity, you're
Okay, so
saying,
show me a passage as clear as 1 John 5:7.
Okay, what if-
For there
what
are
if-
three that
okay.
bear witness in heaven: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And these three are one. Show
Okay.
me something as clear as that in the Bible, which can substantiate and support the Trinity.
Okay,
not the divinity of
so
Jesus.
for example, no, the divinity of Jesus is part of the Trinity.
Yeah, but I didn't ask you about the divinity of Jesus. I asked you about the Trinity.
But that's part of the Trinity.
But hold on, I asked you
You
about the
asked
Trinity.
me about the Trinity, and now you're
Okay,
rejecting.
I didn't
part
ask
of
you for the
Trinity.
part of the Trinity. I asked you for the whole Trinity.
Okay, the whole is made up of parts.
Yes, of course. And which parts are this?
I just told you, and you rejected it.
Wait, are you saying you have a clear verse depicting the three are one?
So, for example,
Give me one verse, go on.
For
there's
example,
a
other than
verse that
first
says the Father and I are one.
Yeah, give me one, go on. Oh, sorry, the
said
Father and I are one?
That's-
That is still
that's-
not the Trinity. That's still
Okay,
two.
but that puts two together.
Yeah, but I don't ask for the two or the divinity of Jesus. Show me the Trinity.
okay,
verse.
okay, I think I know where he's going.
Go on.
This is a typical Muslim ruse.
Here comes the.
He says,
Here comes the
unless-
here comes the victim mentality.
He says, unless the word Trinity is right there in the scriptures, why we can't
Okay.
believe it.
Did I say that?
The concept.
Anyway, no, hold on. Did I say that?
No.
The word Trinity
No.
has to be there.
Okay,
why,
so you're saying
why
that-
the Strawman argument?
So you're saying
Why the Strawman argument?
So you're
Why
saying
laughing?
so you're saying that the concept of the Trinity can be there
Show me.
Without the
Show me
word.
one
without
verse.
the word Trinity.
Yes,
is that
show
what you're
me.
saying?
I'm asking
Okay.
you. Okay, let me ask the question again so you understand this time.
I understand.
All right, do not attack strawman arguments here. First and foremost, the 1 John 5:7, the John and comma that is being found, and as you said correctly, it has been a fraudulent verse which the Christian scholars have come to accept that this is a forgery in the Bible.
That's right.
Yes. If I remember correctly, the New International Version has a footnote which says something like that. This passage is not found in any manuscripts
no. The passage
before
is
the
found.
14th century.
No.
Very clearly.
The passage is found.
You didn't let me finish.
The-
I said this passage is not found in any manuscript, any Greek manuscript before the 14th century.
Okay.